So they and a number of their German colleagues, including several Germans here in this area, would bring slaves in and out from the region. Secondly, you had a Quaker ring. The oldest ring in York County was a bunch of Quakers. They started in southern York County with Quakers would bring them up from Maryland, from Quaker Valley in northern Baltimore County. They would then bring these people into what's now Apple Hill Medical Center on the south side of York. That was owned by a fellow by the name of Jonathan Jessup, who was, again, a Quaker nurseryman. So he had a big, flourishing apple trade with a guy down in Virginia named Yardley Taylor in Leesburg, Virginia. And Yardley Taylor was the #1 smuggler of slaves out of the northern Virginia area, and he would send them here to York as well. So where Apple Hill Medical Center is today, Jessup would take them into downtown York, where either in downtown York, a Quaker by the name of Amos Christ, or just on the fringes of York, a Quaker by the name of Samuel Willis, would then take them, and they would either take them north in towards Carlisle, or actually to Lewisberry first, then on to Carlisle, or they would funnel them here to the river. When the Quakers got them to the river, there was a Quaker farmhouse here that was the #1 place the Quakers would dump the escaped slaves. And of course, this was owned by a guy named Jonathan Mifflin at the time, and his wife Susanna. And they would take them across the river when times were available to do that, and then move them into a number of businessmen in Wrightsville. Quaker businessman by the name of William Wright. There were black business people in William Whipper and Samuel Smith over in Wrightsville as well. As the Quakers started dying out and moving out, and in fact Mifflin ended up leaving his property to his son Sam Mifflin. So Samuel W. Mifflin took over his property. But in downtown York, the Free Black network of Underground Railroad were the most prolific in the late 1840s or early 1850s. And they were headed in downtown York by a fellow by the name of William C. Goodrich. Goodrich was a former slave in Baltimore County, had a black mother, a white father. He was apprenticed to a preacher in downtown York, who at the age of when Goodrich was 16 years old, he let the preacher take Goodrich and give him his freedom. So he gave Goodrich a suit of clothes and set him up in business as a tanner, a barber at that point in time, actually not a tanner. And Goodrich then, as he grew into business prominence, became the wealthiest black man west of the Susquehanna River for many, many years, and was certainly the wealthiest black man in York County and the second or third wealthiest man, period. Well, Goodrich would funnel the slaves back out here to Samuel Mifflin, who now owned this property. And so throughout the 1840s and 50s, this again became, for a second time, the hub of the Underground Railroad movement in here, which continued on into the Civil War. So at the time of the Civil War, there were still escaped slaves from Baltimore County being taken through that. So in June of 1863, as the Confederates make the drive for the river, a general by the name of John B. Gordon brings 1,800 Georgia infantry, about 200 Virginia cavalrymen from the Company C of the 17th Virginia Cavalry, and then the 35th Battalion Virginia Cavalry came into this area. And on the night of June 28th, there were state militia defending this property. In fact, they had camped near this farm, in fact, and they were using the spring house. They were raiding the spring house here for milk and for other delicacies. The hams and things like that were also being kept cool there, and as well as raiding the smokehouse. So the soldiers have been here, the State National Guard, if you will, 27th Pennsylvania Volunteer Militia, had been here for almost a week before that Sunday. So on Sunday, June 28th, the Confederates arrived, and Confederate General John Gordon wants to take the bridge and then march his men over into Langston County, and the rest of the division, the other 4,600 Confederates who were in York, from Louisiana, from North Carolina, and from Virginia, those guys would have moved out here, marched across the river, and then went up through Marietta and tried to attack Lancaster from the back. So the state militia is defending this area, and as Gordon's men attack, the 31st Georgia lines up, comes in this direction. 3 Georgia regiments follow the wood line going down here to the river, and then they come back along the river. The 35th Battalion Virginia Cavalry follows Crites Creek with 2 infantry regiments behind them. And so the Union defenses are like a squared off horseshoe, and the rebels are all around the outside of that. And there's not enough rebels to really push through, and there's not enough defenders to really adequately defend this spot. So the state militia starts pulling back, and as they do, the Confederate general pulls 2 artillery pieces up onto this hill. And we were looking earlier about where to put them. You know, if I'm a Civil War tactician, I know exactly where to put those 2 guns, because if you're going to fire at the militia and you're going to fire at the bridge, you got fantastic sight lines, both towards the militia lines, which would have been fronting this property, and then off to the bridge, which would have been obviously diagonal from this property. So 2 guns up here for sure. Like I said, a number of Confederate behind us. My understanding is that after the state militia retreated, burned the bridge behind them, that those 3 Georgia regiments would have camped somewhere in this general area. So you would have had at least 900, maybe close to 950 Confederates camping in this general area. The rest of the Confederates would have camped down on the Detweiler farm, which is where the state militia had their main camp, although not the only camp. So during the fighting here at Wrightsville, you had probably close to 3,000 men fighting here, and amazingly only 1 guy dies. And that was probably done from here, from one of the cannons here, firing into the line. The reason I think there was one in your front yard aiming that direction is if you go down the line from here at the state, where the state militia's main line would have been, on the far side of that line was a company of 50 plus free blacks who were a home guard militia unit. Oh, they weren't musters, they weren't soldiers, they were civilians, home guard unit. And one of them gets his head taken off in the cannonball or shell fragment, and that likely was fired from here, because you would have had a straight shot from here to go do that. And then the other gun would have been firing at the bridge. Now, because of the elevation of here, we know that every shot that was fired at the bridge was an overshot. I mean, none of them hit the bridge. They all splashed into the river. So I could picture a gunner up here all excited thinking, yeah, not realizing the elevations, you know, and overshooting the bridge and dropping them in the river. So that's a 2-minute micro history of what happened here.
They would travel that far.
Oh yeah, yeah. These were rifled shells. I mean, they spun, and they were cylindrical. They were called Schenkel shells that were fired from 3-inch rifles here. And John, what, maybe a mile at best? Absolute best?
Yeah.
I mean, they're more effective at 3/4 of a mile, but at long range, you can occasionally hit something at a mile with a rifle. By 3/4 of a mile, they were deadly. Half a mile, they were
much more effective than a round ball cannon,
Yeah.
like a howitzer or a Napoleon.
Yeah, exactly.
Much more range.
Yeah. So what the great mystery has always been here is one of the churches here in the area has a round cannonball, and there are also other legends of round cannonballs being dug up and found in this area, but it's like not a single Confederate artillery piece that's known to have been here fired cannonballs. They all fired shells. And there are only 4 guns here, and they're all 3-inch rifles. So it's like, where do these what are these legends that Johnny and I chatted about this in cast about these cannonballs, and it's like, they weren't even cannonballs.
I think Nye even says that they were Napoleons, except for a 25-pound Parrott rifle, which doesn't exist.
Yeah. Now these were 3-inch rifles. In fact, more than likely, at least 1, maybe 2 of these guns, I'm still trying to trace the actual guns in Tanner's battery, were probably captured at 2nd Winchester, because I've got a list. I wrote a book on the Second Battle of Winchester, and I've got a list of all the captured artillery pieces, and I've been trying to match those up with guns known to be in the Confederate Army at the Battle of Gettysburg, because we know that the 24 artillery pieces that are captured at 2nd Winchester, 20 of them get divvied out into Lee's army.
I think Green's battery got
Green's battery got a couple. Runaway's battery got 2 3-inch rifles. We know that Tanner got at least 1, maybe 2 from that as well. And there's some accounts that suggest Carrington's battery, which there was in York on the fairgrounds, may have also had 2 3-inch rifles that were from the Baltimore battery.
Which battery?
Carrington's battery, which is downtown York. They camped on the old fairgrounds in York. So again, my history sorry to bore you with a lot of history, but that's you can tell I get passionate about this.
To learn it.
Yeah, it's like We got to save this somehow or another.
Yeah.
That's why I got you to come here, because you're passionate.
Yeah. I'm done, Rick John. You can turn that.